What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Barndo Show. So today we are going to flash back at some of the incredible conversations we've had with some of our past clients on the show and just highlight some of the top moments with each of them. Everything from the Hanks family and them getting their dream bathroom and the incredible design they put that you now see in most of our Maple 2 plans, to the Dipples down in the low country of Summerville, South Carolina, building their little oasis. And even talking to my good friend Claire about an investment property that she built with us in the middle of downtown on a tiny 1/10 of an acre lot, and her ability to turn that into a duplex type Airbnb situation. And then we'll finish up with my good friends Eric and Heather, and we'll talk about the ups and downs of building. So tune in, check this out. If you're thinking about building with us, hopefully some of your questions could be answered here. I met you guys a couple years ago and had conversations. That was back in the earlier days, and I had a little bit more involvement in things. And you guys met with me and met with different members of the staff and came around. And Tony, you were at the office all the time. I was like, we just need to give him a shirt, man. He's just part of the crew now. So, but I just wanted to get on here and just talk through what it's like, from the moment you decided you were ready to go build something, why, and then how you found us and what made you think about barndominiums and what were some of the things that made you decide to do a barndominium and that kind of thing. So I guess the long story short is how did you find us?
Well, I worked for UPS 35 years, retired and went back to work for them, doing some odd jobs for them, hiring mostly. And I was talking to a young man one day. I was waiting on his paperwork to come through, and I just asked him, why do you want to work at UPS? He said, well, I want a secure future. And said, UPS is one of the securest. I said, well, yeah, that's true. Well, he said, I want to get married, build me a house. I said, what kind of house you going to build? He said, a barndominium. I said, what's that? He showed me a picture of it. I said, wow. And it was a true barndominium. This was where downstairs was where you put all your toys.
Yeah.
Upstairs, you had your big apartment, place like that, living quarters. But it was nice. And then when we got to looking, we bought that land out there where we built on Stewart Road. So we got to thinking, what about a barndominium? And I got you, I think off either Facebook or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I seen it and I just Googled it, Barndo Company. And I liked what I saw. We corresponded a little while, me and you, I think. And, I was corresponding with several different people because y'all was young then.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good thing. It was a good experience. It was by far more than bad experience.
Yeah.
I mean, there's rough spots here and there, but I enjoyed it. I was out at the site every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes twice.
Yeah. Now, what about you? So what was when he came and said, I want to build a barndominium, what was your reaction to that?
I said, that's not something I want to do. I said, I prefer living in a house than a barn. He said, well, I don't think you've seen any pictures. So when he showed me a picture, I'm like, I think I can do this.
Right. Yeah.
And then when I met with you and you said, we can put whatever you want in there. And I think, well, sounds good to me. And I pretty much have everything I want.
That's awesome. Now, I don't remember when you guys came in. Did y'all go on one of the tours we used to do where you go and see barns or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So it's fun for me because there was a brief period of time where we were trying to get, because nobody had been in them or seen them. They seen pictures. And so we tried to do some of those tours, and it got so popular that homeowners were like, quit bringing people out to the job site, because it was like charter buses of people. And it wasn't a scalable thing. It was fun while it lasted, for about 4 or 5 months, but it was just fun to see people experience it. So you kind of like the idea, you had conversations with me, and then you kind of got to put a plan together and all that, and then the design. And so you guys chose one of our plans and then kind of modified it, and it ended up becoming a pretty good staple. And it was, y'all did some great improvements, and so it was a great way for us to say like, wow. So y'all chose the maple.
Chose the maple, correct.
And then y'all worked with what was it like working with the designer to make the changes?
He was awesome. We did it via Zoom.
Yep.
And he showed us everything in 3D, like we wanted it. He'd change it right there if he could. And we had several different meetings with him, but he was awesome to work with, and he put everything pretty much like we wanted it.
Yep.
And then when y'all got done, that became the Maple 2. And so if you guys are like thinking about that bathroom design that you see on that plan, here you go. This is where it was born. So so when you guys looked at that original Maple and then you guys turned that into that, at that point in time, it was hands down the biggest shower we had ever built in our lives. And that bathroom was like, whoa. And I remember thinking like, oh, okay, this is going to be incredible to build. And everybody was so excited. And like how did that come about? Like what process did that look like?
That was kind of my idea. My whole life, I've had a small shower. I mean, small. Even the last house I had, which was built in '94, had a small shower. Big tub, but a small shower. So I'm not going to have that. I'm going to have both of them. I got the big tub and I got the big shower. And I would sit there looking at it, and I just started going over things in my head of what I want. I knew I wanted a rain head. I knew I wanted regular shower heads, and then I wanted the water body sprayers.
Yeah.
I should have put one more on each side. Hindsight. And then we had the handhelds, one on each side. But I did that for her, so when she cleaned the shower, she didn't have to drag that one all the way around.
Our granddaughters love it.
I bet they do. I mean, it's a water park.
That's what they call it.
I tell people it's like going through a car wash.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. It's fun to see changes because, like I say, the Maple plan was same thing. A family sat down, designed it, created it, and we made a few little tweaks to it after building it because they had some stuff that was like specific to them. And then to see that plan like transform into the Maple 2, and now I think we have 4 or 5 renditions of Maples, and they've changed over time. And that's what's fun about barndominiums is literally it can be anything you want it to be as long as you got the patience to endure, because it's hard. Like every time you make a change, there's a lot that goes in the back end of like, all right, it looks good, but does it work? Right. And building through that. And I remember another thing was you had seen a plan with that garage, with the loft above it, and we went back and forth on the loft and. But there was a vision in that, like you were like, no, I gotta have this loft, and I remember that being back and forth the conversation about getting that garage because you guys got the big garage, and then you got that whole upper area above it and everything like that. That's just again like it's not common, like that's not a common aspect of building. A lot of times, like a lot of times it's just like kind of a preset thing that this is what we can do, this is what we can't do. But that was something we were able to recreate and come up with a solution because it wasn't just a practical out of the box solution for us to do that. There was a lot that went into that all at one time. And so, that was.
Yeah, because I wanted the big garage because I wasn't going to have me another detached garage like I had back home. So it's going to be my carport and whatever else I want to put in it. And I got 3 cars, so all 3 of those are going to go in it. Maybe one day I might get a tractor and it may go in it. So you never know. But yeah, I wanted the big garage and I wanted a room over. It first started out, wasn't going to be quite that big. I walked out to the site one day and the guy there said I had to add, because of the trusses, I think he said I had to add another 2 foot to the side of the walls. It's okay. That's fine. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. And he said, but you'll like it. I said, okay, cool. And then I went back out. Like I say, I went out pretty much every day. And I got to looking. I looked up there and I saw the roof. I said, okay. Then I went around and there's a ladder there, so I climbed up. And I said, okay, I love this. Got it.
Right.
It's 100% lovable.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people,
once you go from that design phase and you've got all that and you went through that process and, you've looked at a million options and took stuff away and added things, and you're trying to figure out how to get on paper what's in your head, and that's one journey. And then when it goes to build and you get out there and they mark it off and then the concrete comes in, it kind of feels small.
It does.
It does.
Very.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
And then they frame it and people are like, whoa.
Yep.
When those trusses go up, it's like, I tell people, it's like walking into a church almost. Like you go in and it's just so grand and the ceilings are so high and like you don't know what you're looking at because it's deceiving. And then, so we always get there. Like we go out there and mark off. They're like, this just don't feel right. I'm like, guys, just breathe. Wait 7 days. And that concrete goes in and the framing goes up and the trusses get flown and they go and like once that happens, then they realize like, oh wow, yeah, no, this is big.
This is
definitely.
It's awesome.
It required me to buy a new Christmas tree. So I think in one of your videos you said, just buy you a new Christmas tree to fill it up. So I did. I bought an 8.5 foot Christmas tree.
I appreciate that.
What was funny was we had another guy that came on the show, Danny. He was I was joking with him when we were building it, and I was like, "You're gonna get keys right here at the holidays. You realize like you're gonna have a Christmas tree because he has in where his upstairs is. His living room is 2 stories high, so it's like imagine your garage without the upstairs. That's how high the ceiling was in his living room, and he was like, "How high you reckon that is?" So I think the project manager dropped the tape down. He went on Amazon and ordered this tree, and he was talking about he was trying to put it together on the ground. He was like, he had to go get a lift to put it together. So I this year I was teasing him, asking him like, when you gonna start working on that tree? And then he sent me a picture the other day of his dog sitting there beside the tree. It's some massive thing, but it's fun. Like again, it's just that's a fun thing that in a Barndo like. Just standard built. You have the ability to put a massive Christmas tree in it. At Christmas time, I love talking about it. So it's just it's a fun thing. But before we jumped on here, we were talking about another thing that you were saying, like, hey, now that we've moved in, you got friends and family that come over and like, what's their response when they see it?
They say, wow.
Yeah.
I showed a guy, one of my niece's husband. I showed him a picture of that video y'all made and sent out a while, I guess, before I moved in.
Right.
And he was looking through it and he said, wow, whoa. He was at awe with it. And it's awesome. When you walk in, we had a party for my daughter a while back.
Baby shower.
And the people there, they was loving it. And they was walking through, looking at it, and they went through the shower. I showed them the shower.
You have to.
I have to show the shower.
That's the Taj Mahal.
UPS guy come one day, and he said, man, I like this. I said, okay, well, Barndo come to build it. And I said, come on this side. So I took him and I showed him the shower. He said, whoa, man. It's awesome. I said, you can take these things and make whatever you want, as little or as big as you want it.
I just want to meet the people that came and be like, guys, you won't believe what happened today. I showed up at this guy's house. He was like, let me show you my shower.
That's right.
Take everybody in there.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's just, I tell everybody, like, I was like, we need to redo our tagline to just look up. Because when you walk in and you look up, that's the moment it clicks of how different it is.
Yes.
It's not the same. There's no comparison to it inside of traditional building without spending a massive amount of money to get some of the same things. Like we don't go crazy with over the top trim levels and all that. Like I tell people all the time, like everybody that builds or buys a house, you always you're looking for that conversation piece. But when you build one of these, like your home is that. Like people romanticize about it. They think about it. They've heard about it. And then when they see it, they're just like, wow, because it's different. It's different. And I think it gives people freedom to be like different. Like y'all decided to do something different. And then it's a cool thing. Like it reinforces a little bit of like, we made the right choice. This is cool.
Yep.
Another thing, and again, we were talking before we jumped into doing the show about I think one of the biggest things that we offer kind of as a standard. Now everything's optional, but a lot of our designs come standard with porch. big porches, and you guys got porches for days on both sides of the house. And so like
Yes.
you were talking about like, man, going out there and my grandkids just riding their Power Wheels on it. And like,
Mhm.
I don't think people understand how much value that adds to your life.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people I don't think understand that they don't have a porch or that they got something, right?
Yeah.
Like when they think porch, they think like you said, a stoop or this
Mhm.
small little thing that's decorative on the front of their home before you go in it. But like you got a porch, and it changes the feel of the house. Like your ability to do things outdoors, throw parties, you know, just it's different. Like what has that been like? Like, you know,
It's been awesome. During the summertime, I get my coffee and go outside on the front porch. In the afternoon, I end up on the back porch where the sun's setting. I love it. I mean, I sit out there. I don't watch near as much TV as I used to because I'm outside.
right?
And it is. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 60 by 12 front and back.
It's
And
massive.
It's massive. It is.
Worth it though.
It's worth every penny of it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I that's one of the biggest undersold values of a home. Like when people come in and they start doing the pricing and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, look, guys, we could take the porch away,
Mhm.
but why don't you go see one first? Because I think when you see why it's there, you remember it's a lost art. If you think back in, you know, earlier days of houses, like you look at all these 1900, late 1800 Victorian homes and colonial homes, all of them had massive porch space. And so like people's lives existed in and out of the home, and like it somehow got lost. It's like a lost art in home design today because they're trying to put as much heated square footage as they can
Mhm.
on the smallest piece of
Mhm.
land they can find, and get as many people in them as possible. And they know
Right.
that the bank will treat heated square footage differently than this one, and they're trying to get as much as they can for as little cost as possible and whatever they can do. And that's kind of where housing went.
Mhm.
And you got a lot of custom home builders, you know, that cater to other things, but to just make it standard, like these are included on a lot of our designs. It's just it's a game changer, and I think it's something that people don't realize they don't have, and like it makes your house so much more. Like, even the house that my wife and I live in currently, isn't a barndominium. We actually bought that house a couple years before we even started this company, and you know, it's like one of those things where we keep fighting back and forth. I go buy land ready to build, and my wife's like, I don't want to move there, you know, and so we keep going. But we just bought land. We just bought some land. We're getting ready to build the barndominium that we designed 2.5 years ago, and we're excited about it. But I built the porch. I literally, I think I built like a 16 by 50 on the back of my house, and when people come over, like that's where we're at. Like
Mhm.
it's a game changer to have that space. And again, it's just, I think what we really are trying to do is just reconnect people to what's most important, and that's the people you're with. And I think if you get too sucked up into all these little cubby holes of space and everybody wants to be in a room with the door shut and the TV on, like you lose a little bit of what makes life fun.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Well, we live in every room of that house now.
Mhm.
You know, when we had the 2-story house, there was rooms we hardly ever went in. But this house, we're in those rooms all day, every day. Just in my breezeway. That's like my breezeway,
Right.
and I love it.
Mhm.
Can't wait till it snows so I can go sit in that breezeway and watch the snow.
That's awesome. Every 6 years, right?
Well, I think we're about due, maybe.
Yeah.
I hope.
It feels like it. I feel it in the air.
And it's beautiful out there, you know, in the fall with the leaves and all that. So the breezeway is a plus for me.
It's going to be good. I guess you brought up something I want to hit real quick was you had the rooms upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, we never went there. And a lot of people come in and they bring us 2-story designs and they bring us this stuff. And people are just accustomed to it. Again, smallest footprint on the smallest tract of land. That's how you design homes. If you notice, we have some, but the overwhelming majority of the plans that we curate and publish and post are all single story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's intentional. There's 2 reasons for it. Like both me and Ross have personal reasons why in the future, between our children and different stuff like that, like, and life experiences to where we know stairs can become a boundary,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And
Yes.
so like, it's better to have everything accessible and not need it than to need it to all be accessible and not have it. And so we really work hard to keep our pricing consistent to where the cost to build out is the same as to build up. And we intentionally do designs like that to keep everything on one floor, because you never know what kind of circumstance you're going to find in. I remember one particularly, my daughter lived on the second story of our home, and she fell and broke her leg, and she was basically in a wheelchair for like 7 months. It seemed like it was a long time. And we had to move her down, and thankfully we had a room downstairs, like my old office, that we turned into a bedroom for her. But that was a situation where we were like, whew, could you imagine if we were in that circumstance? Same thing, like, aging in your home, and you just don't, you never know what could happen to where you're like, I can't even use these parts without having to do all kinds of extra stuff, extra steps. But that's something that we're passionate about. We try to market accessible living.
Well, I have bilateral knee replacements, and my orthopedic said, "Do you live in a 2-story house?" And at the time, I said, "I do." He said, "You got to sell it." He said, "Because you got to take care of those." So, and I think I showed you a design that I liked, and it had a second story. And you said, "Why do you want to go up when you can go out?" And I'm like, "That's a good idea." So we just decided to go out.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's
and wouldn't change it.
No, again, it's one of those things that you don't really realize until you live in it, and you're like, we use every room, like, and so it's just one of those extra little things, like attention to detail. And like, the thing is, we know most people are building their dream, and dreams change and things change, and you might sell and rebuild and do stuff, but the vast majority of people we build for, this is where they plan to live, and we want to design something that they can build, that they can enjoy for however long that is, and avoid certain things to where just something simple, like a design, or just something that fits more in with what everybody else is doing, that could prevent that. Like, that's just not what we're about. Like, we're really about, like, how do we make sure that we're setting this thing up to where it's easily used all the time, and we can eliminate certain things from that conversation, but that's just, again, that goes back to just me and Ross in the very beginning, being very clear on that. Like, I would rather build these, and we get a lot of people that say stuff, because we build some monstrosities that have the upstairs and stuff, because I'll build whatever you want, but I caution everyone. But a lot of times we'll post stuff, and like, we don't, you said, like, true barndominium, the garage below, the house above thing, like, that's cool, but it's a little bit more than that, because if you're living in it every day, you want a home. And so a lot of our designs, we kind of catered to this ranch style design thing, and it's just been fun. It's been fun to see people experience inside of it. Now, let's talk about the real nitty gritty stuff. We started building. What was that process like?
Well, actually, you called me. I was down there in the beach in Florida, sitting on the beach in Florida. So we're going to start grading tomorrow. And I think halfway into a 2-week vacation. So I didn't get to see it till after it was the whole thing was poured. And it was an experience. I mean, this would be my third one I've built. And I was more involved in this one than I've been in any other. Because, we just like to be there and like to look. I try not to get in the way. I'd bring donuts out sometimes, stuff like that, to the guys. And they enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it too. So, I love being around it, to watch it. Right. I've never seen anything like this and go up before.
What do you think the most frustrating part of the build was?
The time frame that it took.
Yeah.
I guess you don't you understand, but you don't. If things come up, weather, whatever, we understand all that. But it's like, you're about to get a house and you just want it.
In Spartanburg County.
Yeah.
Threw me a loop big time.
Yeah. With the land disturbance.
With having to put the perk the septic tank took them 3 months.
Yeah,
and then they finally got the build permit, and y'all got started right away as soon as you got it. And then everything goes real fast for a while. Then right there toward the end, it'll kind of slow down a little bit more, because it'll you got things you got to tighten up, and got to go back and redo some things like that. And you do well when you do it. I'll tell you like that, it looks good. and it's they was coming out one week, one week, instead of everybody coming at the same time. And I don't know if they could. I don't know
Right.
what they were doing. And then the weather, it gets into it. It took a little longer than I thought, but I was anxious too.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I was really
Everybody is.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's one thing that I think that we've probably done a better job of over the years is we know what's possible, and we know that there are certain projects we can show up and in 120 days we can hand you door keys. It happens.
Yeah.
We also know that there's some where it might be 12 months to door keys, and there's uncontrollable, controllable, different variables. There's all kinds of things that play into that. And so we structure our contracts in a way to kind of like plan for the worst case. And then I think we just kind of use it as like a, hey, you know, this is just like worst case scenario. This is more thing. And then like the more we did it, we realized that, you know, you're in between, right? And once that thing starts going, and once you see those first few weeks of how fast things are going, because that's the secret to barndominium. That initial phase is faster than any other way of construction around. Once you get past that, we're on the same pace as everybody else because we've got to do all the same stuff. We got to wire, we got to plumb, we got to HVAC, we got to drywall, paint, cabinets, countertops, floor. Like it's the same. But that first little sprint creates like momentum,
Right.
And everybody gets excited, and you're like, "Boy, I'm gonna be in this thing in like 2 months." and then you know 6 months later, you're like, "Oh my god, like let's just close." And so like, you know, you'd said you built before, and this was, you know, you're building your dream home. You got your perfect piece of land, and like, what do you think was the best way of dealing with that anxiety of like, when are we going to move in, and how do you think you cope through it? Because what happened, like, everybody gets tension, and it's almost like it felt mutually, right? It was like these people hate our guts, and you know, and then you're like, I know they hate us by now, and like, but it's not real. It's just a temporary thing. And what we know is like, once you get in, the good outweighs the bad, and like everything kind of resettles. And we've had people like on move-in day that are just like, you know, and then a few months go by and they're hitting us up like, hey, my daughter is ready to build, and you know, like it kind of self-levels. But some people don't know how to cope with that stress, and they you know, they don't know how to plan for those delays, because you kind of get in there and you can kind of see it, and you're like, well, I know it says here on paper that it's this date, but like it's gonna be before then, and you kind of make your mind up to that. And then when it isn't, like, what did you do to kind of like deal with that?
It was stressful. But now, when we started with you was growing. You just started really growing.
We went through a lot of
of your growth along with you, and you know, because you was changing people where you got stuff from, things like that, and we'd already picked out stuff here, and we was going back and forth. It was a little frustrating. It was, but I mean, we worked through it with y'all. I mean,
all your people were very nice, though.
Yeah.
They were, you know, helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Just easy to get along with and talk to. And so that made it easier when somebody would change up something on us.
Yeah.
Everybody was just very nice.
Mhm.
Well, that's good. I mean, I would say that if we got anything that's the best, it's our people. We take a lot of pride in that, like the culture and how we operate, and everybody's working towards the same mission to, you know, make it a good experience. But building a house is ugly. And then like a growing company on top of that compounds it. And so like, you know, we understand like why a lot of people don't grow, because it's painful to do, because you got to have weird things happen. Like, well, this cabinet line can't sustain the growth that's coming. We've got to transition to this cabinet line. And even though they're very similar, you know, I'm not just going to hoodwink something in like, hey guys, I need you to come up here and look at these and like do your repicks. And it's aggravating and agitating, and like we feel that too. And so it's one of those things where we have to make tough decisions sometimes. Like, what's the if we're going to have the battle, what's a better battle to have? A difficult conversation with a handful of clients that will set up success for hundreds more, or just forget about the problem altogether and just deal with what we got. And I think a lot of people probably choose the easier path there, and then their company doesn't grow because like what got you here can't get you there. And like I think there's a way to do it where yeah, it's an extra step and it's frustrating. And trust me, everybody in my office feels that stuff. Like they hate to have an experience start to come off the rails. And it happens to everybody. You could be the biggest raving fan of Barndo. People, I mean, we have clients that are amazing. They're so excited and they sing our praises. They're on Facebook leaving reviews and Google leaving reviews, and they're telling all their friends, and they're making videos, and they're documenting the process, and they're coming to dinner and like inviting us over to parties, and like they're excited. Even when it comes to crunch time, that final 45-day run, it gets a little dicey. Like, because it's emotional and expensive, and all the things are happening, and like it's normal. And so I think the more that we've done it, the more we realize it's not personal. It's not even individual.
Right.
I never felt like that.
It's just part of the process.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, I got anxious every once in a while, but when Dan came, I felt great after that.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan's the man.
Let's shout him out. I love hearing
Dan's the man.
Yeah, he's very easy to.
He got things rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I say, we started out with you when you was small, and then I had 1, 2, 3, and then Dan came, and he got things rocking and rolling, like I liked at the time.
We kind of miss seeing him.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen him in a while.
He's going to listen to this, and he's going to show up at your house and be like, "I brought a pizza."
Come on, Dan.
Pepperoni, Dan.
But no, Dan. I think most people that built with him, and it's true for all of them. It's not just Dan, but he's just got that big care. He's a just compassionate, caring human, and he wants you to have a great experience, and it brings him a lot of joy to like deliver. And so he's like an exceptional human being. Like he will bend over backwards to make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
the first person we bonded with was Mario. Love Mario.
Yeah.
He's a good man.
Mm-hmm.
He would call us and say, "I got one that's kind of near ready for you to look at. You want to come look at it?" And we'd go look.
He made us there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be like, "Yeah, we like it." And so I guess he kind of helped us decide that's what we wanted.
Well, and Mario's situation was he's moved around with so many things because he was the first employee of our company. And he knows how to do everything. And he was out there in the trenches in the beginning with Ross and I figuring the system out, which we had to kind of recreate because the biggest thing we had to do is figure out how to get banks to lend. So we created a unique system to be able to do what we do and have the success we've had with lending. And he was so instrumental in that, like he knew how to build them in his sleep. And so Mario trains every crew that comes on with the original construction. So from the standing of the poles and the trusses to the framing to the exterior sheathing and the roofing and the way we tie that envelope in and all that. Like he is hands down the most experienced guy that we have there, and he trains every crew. So if we go to a new area, he trains the crews that do that in that area. He trains and does all this stuff, and he was doing so much of that like he get pulled in, and then we're like, all right, he can't project manage. But then he would go to an area like when we moved into North Carolina, he's up there training all these guys, and he's up there all the time. And so like he would pick up jobs and project manage, and he's helping the new project managers in this new area, and he's doing this, and then a new area opens, and then Mario kind of goes over there. So Mario, what's funny is so many people, like out of the hundreds of barns that we've built, like I'd say half of them will say something about Mario because he's just involved in everything, and still to this day, like he's anything to do with our growth, Mario's tied to it. Like he's just in it, he's involved, he's building out showrooms and offices and still running crews, and I mean he'll literally do anything. He's a game changer too. I love that dude.
He was very helpful.
Very helpful.
And you had an intern from Clemson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent young man.
What was his name?
Helped us a lot.
Heath.
Yeah.
No, Heath's in purchasing. Oh man, Gwynn.
No.
Devin Gwynn.
Devin.
Yeah, Devin. Mm-hmm.
He was very helpful.
He was very knowledgeable.
He was sensational.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember at the end of the summer before he was going back, he's like, "Man, I kind of just want to stay." And we're like, "No, don't." Like you keep doing your thing. And I think this past summer he was doing some stuff with a commercial group, and he was a great kid. He was one of those, like, we do a lot with interns and students and things like that. And he was one of those ones where you came in and was like, this is grown man. He's got grown man attitude. He can handle some stuff. And so he got a little bit more of a field experience than some of our other interns, just because of he was just about the business side and like doing the things, and he didn't need a lot of guidance. So he floated around with a bunch of our people, and he was a great one.
He was.
Hoping next couple of years maybe he shows back up permanently, but
I hope so.
Yeah, no, he was fantastic. That's awesome that you got to shout him out. But he was at Clemson doing the construction science management program, and just such a smart, young man.
Very smart.
But I guess what's your favorite thing about your Barndo since it's all done and you're living in it and you've been in it for a few months, and like, what's that been like?
It's been great. I mean, the heating bill is way low. I mean, if I was back in my house, the old house, I'd be paying $400 or $500 a month. Now I'm paying right at $100. I said, it's awesome. The water, I mean, everything. I mean, the shower, my baby.
We can't get away. He's like, you guys got to post a picture of the shower. Every time we say shower, just throw it back up there.
Yeah.
And she took the closet, the main closet. I have nothing in there. So I got my stuff in the office where my little desk is. My intention is to move up above the garage for my office and all that good stuff. And then that's going to be my closet.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So I had to change that around.
But we like the den, kitchen, dining. We like that whole area.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's the life zone.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you're with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still in the same room, but I may be in the kitchen, but I don't feel left out. I feel like I'm out there with everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And our two little granddaughters, 5 and 4, they love it.
Mm-hmm.
They still call it the Barndo.
Yeah.
That's, let's go to the Barndo, Garan. And they do. They love it. They like watching him split the wood outside. That's one of the things that they'll come over and they'll want him just to go out there and split some wood so they can watch. So it's very child friendly.
That's another thing. It's built solid. I had 2 trees fall on it during Helene.
Oh yeah, the hurricane.
Yeah. And it did damage, but it
Not
didn't
much.
fall through. It hit mainly right over the master bedroom and the front porch. And it's not a lot of damage there. I mean, it's going to cost some money to fix it. It's going to be wrong. And I think they're coming out maybe next week. I think he was getting the materials this week.
Yep.
And so it's awesome. I mean, it's a great concept. I am so glad y'all come up with it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love to hear it on the other side too, because you go into it believing that what I'm telling you is true and what our team is saying is true and what others say is true. But then, like, once you live through it and now you live in it, you could still say the same things. That's pretty powerful. Let me ask you this. If you were to give some advice, let's just say there's a individual or a couple that's in this kind of discovery phase. They're kind of thinking about this. What do you think you would tell them to kind of like either A, let them know they're making the right decision to do something different like this? Because I think most people are just scared because it is so different.
They are.
And then the other side would be, what advice would you give them to prepare them for the journey of once they've onboarded and they start the process of what to expect?
Well, I would have to say, from my personal experience, I invite people out to see it. I still do. I say, if you want to see one, come out to my house. I'll show it to you, show you everything about it, tell you how we went about it, and and show you everything I can about it. In fact, I talked to a guy the other night. I was at a Christmas party. He was wanting to build a barn. I said, I got the great people that can do it for you.
Right.
He said, I don't know what size I want. He said, I'm thinking about 1,250 square feet. I said, no, go bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a barn, get at least 1,500, personal opinion.
Right.
And I got 1,250, and that's plenty because I got the room over, which is happy. But come out, look at it. I'll take you out and show you others because there's other ones besides mine that you can look at, and I know where they are. I'll take you and go with the Barndo people because they're good people. They care, and I had great experience with them. I did. I might get frustrated here and there, but there again, it's weather, is material being stolen.
Yeah.
That was
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my whole roof got stolen. So, but we got it straightened out, got it fixed. And it took another week or two, I think, to get it started again. But it's an experience. You'll love it. Be involved in it. Don't be aggravating, but be involved. Ask questions.
Right.
I mean, I would come out to y'all's office and y'all just say, "Come on in, let's talk."
All the time. That's why I say I'd walk next door to the production side and Tony just be sitting at the table with the guys. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I'd be sitting there talking, and I come in, Ross said, "Come on in, sit down." And I would, and I talk with him about this, that, and the other. And, you can put what you want in it. If you want you to buy the electrical outlets, the electrical fixtures, plumbing fixtures, I can buy it or you can buy it. I chose to buy mine. And, it was, I think we did good from what I've seen and what people have told me. But it's an experience, but it's an experience you need to process and need to think, expect the 12 months.
Right.
Probably won't be, since, you got more crews than you got going now. So, yeah, but I would expect it. It didn't take me 12. I think it took 9,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's right.
From March, I think from July to start to middle of July, end of July, I think to the end of March. So that's how long it took me to get in. Did I get anxious? I got anxious because I was wanting to get in that house, get out of the apartment.
Yeah.
I had the apartment crazy after 3 years. The people there was good, but this was not for me.
How about from your perspective?
From a female, once you look at it and they tell you can kind of do what you want to do, it takes on a whole new meaning. Because when I first heard Barndo, I'm like, I just don't think I can live in a barn. I don't think I can. But, ours is really like a house, know? And when we were talking about the trusses, I'm like, you going to be able to see them? And they're like, yeah. And I'm thinking, I love them. I do. I love them. I love everything. I love everything about it. I mean, we downsized a good bit from our other house, but it's plenty of room. And it's beautiful to me. And I mean, I probably don't even know if there's anything about it that I would change. I pretty much got what I want, like my breezeway, connected to my laundry room, connected to what I call my coffee bar, butler's pantry. And I love it. I've got plenty. It's very, very roomy for the size it is. The cabinet space is unbelievable. It's more than I had in a 3,500 square foot house.
Right.
So, and I utilize every bit of it. So yes, I mean, I love it. And if I had to do it over again, I would definitely do it over again.
I got 3 shelves of Christmas coffee cups in the coffee area.
But yeah, I would definitely do it over. I would do it again.
There is nothing that provides more good, relevant feedback to our client base than actually talking to previous customers. So I'm always thankful when you guys, invite us in to do something like this, and it's awesome. We were joking before we got on here about last time I was here, it was just red dirt and, fight for a CO. And now you guys have turned it into a home, right? It went from just a Barndo sitting out here in the woods to a home, and it looks beautiful. Like, you guys did a great job. I guess kick it off would say, like, how did you find us when you decided to build with us?
I don't even remember.
I think we decided that we liked this style of construction, the look of the building, the house. And I'm pretty sure we just did a internet search, just builders in South Carolina, barndominium builders in South Carolina. I'm pretty sure that's how we found you.
You guys came in through the web. That's
Yeah.
common. I mean, we do a lot of work to make that happen.
Yeah,
for
we
people.
talked to some local builders first, and their cost per square foot was low 200s, 220, 225 and up. And that just wasn't going to work for our budget. So,
Right.
we knew in theory this was a more affordable building method, and that I think that's how we came to barndominium and then to you.
Yeah. And then when you guys came with us, we didn't even have an office in the Low Country at that point in time.
Mm-mm.
No, we came out to Greenville.
Yeah, you guys came up to Greenville. I think you guys
That was
actually.
the first onboarding that you all had done.
Yeah, you were the first.
Mhm.
Yeah, the first deal down this way, and put the hunt on me to figure out how we were going to get down here and grow, because we had so many people calling from the area, from Columbia to Charleston. And we were just trying to figure out how in the world can we service that area, and so we came down here looking for space, and then I remember you guys onboarding, and then I think you guys actually came to one of our OBX events.
The
didn't you?
first one.
Mhm.
The very first OBX. Yep. And talk about that a little bit. That was a unique experience that no one has now, right? So nobody gets to come in and go through an OBX, because it's too big of a company now to facilitate something like that. But that was a fun time. Then you guys came up all the way to the upstate,
Mhm.
Right.
and kind of got to go tour some properties,
Yeah.
hear a little bit about who we were as a company. We rent a tour bus.
Right.
And were you guys on the one where the tour bus broke down?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was-
We were on that bus.
That
Yes.
was our bus.
Well, that's typically how it goes, right? I get a phone call like, "This is going so good," then the bus broke
Yeah,
down.
not so much.
That's awesome. So, so you guys did this and then started designing the plan and ended up building this Aspen,
Right.
and broke the internet. Like this home gets so much viewership. Like every time we post it, people go crazy over it. So kudos to that. Like,
Thank you.
yeah,
It's all him.
right. The designs and the selections, like it all tied in so nice. But talk a little bit about the process. So you guys found land.
We found the property September of
Yep.
22, I guess it was.
Yes. Yep.
And then
22.
so that was like September.
And we had been looking for about a year almost, I think, because
Yeah.
we were still, checking in with you all and making sure everything was going to go okay, and just hadn't found what we liked yet. So,
Yeah, so we found the property. We did the onboarding. I think we had picked out this model, really, I think we had decided on it
Mhm.
before we came out, but we picked the model. And once we had the property, of course, there was, issues with where does the house sit, the grading and everything. But, I think we thought that we had an idea what we wanted to do. So
Right.
we did the onboarding. It was great. I mean, I think being able to see the houses was really important to us. Just to get an idea for, what it was sort of going to look like at least.
Right.
And we've continued to let people see the house. I mean, we've gotten messages, phone calls, how safe that is. But we've had you can sort of tell who's good, who's not. But we've had people, as recently as a couple months ago, stop by to take a look at it. They had questions, and I'm not sure if they became customers or not, but
Right.
we just felt that was really important. I don't know how you can build something without, at least walking through something.
Yeah.
well, and that was my biggest hesitation. Like, we never saw one till we came up there and did the onboarding. So I'm like, what, is this going to look like just some garage that we're living in or whatever? I'm like, I want it to be pretty. And I just remember the first time when I pulled up and everything was on, I was just like, oh my God, this is just incredible. I'm like, it just blew me away.
Yeah, well, and the fun part for us is like we do a ton of site visits. Like we constantly are taking people in the field, because in the beginning it was to kind of show off what we had done, right? We wanted people to see our work, and that's part of it. The bigger part of it now is um making sure that it's the right thing, right? Like we want people to walk in and see it in different phases of construction. We want them to be able to touch it, look at it, and answer the questions in their mind, is like, is this what we want? Because if it's not, it's the best time to figure that out is now. before you get started.
Right.
Let's go ahead and disqualify it. And so we open up every weekend. There's multiple events taking place and hundreds of people going through properties all over the Southeast now where we're building. But what's fun is not everybody that's in the process ever toured one. We get a lot of people that just call in, they onboard, they get started. They've never seen one ever, and they don't care. But the people who did, I'd say 80% of them, once we're building theirs, they open their home up to let people come, because it was such a big deal for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's fun too, because you get to see people get oogly eyes over what
Yeah.
you're building, So no, I really appreciate that. We showed this house
endlessly in the beginning because
Yeah,
you
we
were
finally had to say enough was
you,
enough because
you were the
we got to a point where it was almost done. It's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore.
yeah. Well, I mean, you were the only gig in town at first,
Right.
and then literally every time we post a picture, people would lose their mind over this home, and so it was just a hot commodity, and everybody wanted to come and see this place, and so yeah, I would say in the last year, the 50 something houses in the Somerville area, probably 48 of those people came to this
That's
house to
nice.
make a decision. So it was a big deal for us to be able to show it off. But talk a little bit about like move-in day, right? So we won't talk about the but
Move-in.
move-in day. You're finally in the home. You're getting in the home. Like what was that like?
Exhausting.
we moved down here, I guess like 6.5 years ago. So I was a little younger then, and I figured, okay, a move's a move. It took longer to sell our other house than we thought. So we finally got it sold, and then we had, the weeks and weeks leading up to getting that house listed. We were cleaning, we were painting, we were cleaning up, all the things you do to get a house ready for sale. So we got through all that, listed the house, and then we had to sort of start all over again, then to pack and move, which we did in a day or two.
Yeah.
And then I think 2 days later, a day later, whatever it was, then the movers came to move that aquarium that you saw inside. That was on my birthday. I got it moved. I got it mostly put together, and I sat down in that recliner in there and just fell sound asleep. And I was out till the next morning. It was exhausting. It really was.
So you guys moved in like December of 2023.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, over the last, year and few months, really have turned this place into home. So what's it like now that, you're living in this thing, and obviously it's got to be a conversation piece, right? Friends, family, anybody comes over, right? They're probably asking you questions about it. What's that like living in it now that you're in it, right? We'll get to the nitty gritty part, the part that's the process to get to that part. But that part, just living here, is it what you hoped it would be?
I think it is. I enjoy it. I love where we are. We're not stuck in a big community anymore. And, he has worked very hard at doing the landscaping, and I got my piece right here, the pool, and he's got his garage, and
We're good.
it's good. I enjoy it, and it is fun talking about people. When they come in and they're asking questions, or a lot of people in my office will be like, "Well, she lives in a barndominium," and they're like, "A what?" And then they want to know questions, and so we try to give them as much information as possible. But it's nope, I love it.
Now, I used to joke with people when I was, in the beginning, when I was doing every sale of like, a lot of times you build a home and then you go find that one conversation piece. But when you build this, like it is the conversation.
Yeah.
Sure.
People have questions. You talked about the landscaping and this guy working super
Well,
hard.
I was literally miserable the first couple months we were here. It's not that I didn't like the house.
Right.
It was a mud pit.
Yeah.
Right.
And nothing was going right outside. It wouldn't shed water properly. It was a mess.
Yep.
And we have 2 dogs. So, we built a little area out in the breezeway area, for them to go
Temporarily.
do their business. They still like going out there today, sometimes more than the yard, I think. But I have a tad of OCD, maybe I've been told. So I just didn't.
Still a
It was terrible. I mean, every time it rained, I would just like be on edge. So when it got warm last year, this time, I remember the first thing I did was put the 2 gardens in on either side of the front porch. I figured I had to start somewhere, and it was like overwhelming because there was nothing. And I've, moved into a bunch of houses over the years. We bought a bunch of houses, but they've all been finished houses with landscaping, that I would improve or change, but I had something to work with. This was a blank canvas. And, I was going to have a landscape designer come in and do this and that. And I said, no, I've done this enough. I can do it. So I just sort of bit it off in little pieces and put some gardens in, ordered the first 5 pallets of sod. After the first pallet, we realized that we couldn't lay 4 more pallets of sod. Luckily, we found help
We
for
got
that.
through a half a pallet.
We
I
got through a
think,
half a
before
pallet.
we decided.
And it was probably just still April. It wasn't hot. I mean,
No.
we were dead. It's like this. So we found some help to lay the sod. We just sort of went from there. But it was just picking a starting point, really.
Well, you bring up a good point because it's a process to build, right? And we don't find ourselves in communities building. That we do occasionally. Most of the time, it's your story. Hey, we found some land, right? We're ready to build on this land. We come in and we build a home, and like it's not like again a quarter acre lot where you throw out some seed and it's done. It's a development here, right? Like you're really got a lot going on. You're off the road a little bit. You have more yard and more space, and you know that those finishing touches. And you kind of talk about it a little bit in the beginning and in the onboarding, and you walk through that of like, hey, driveway options, and then the landscaping options, and we always tell people it you can handle that piece yourself. It is cheaper if you do. And literally no one ever wants to do it. They spend all their money on upgrades in the home, right? They spend their money in their kitchen, their bathroom, flooring, those kind of things. And then like landscaping, they're like, nah, it'll be fine. We'll figure it out. It'll be great. It ain't a big deal. We'll just
Easy. Yeah.
we'll throw some straw and some seed out. It'll be great. In the southeast, you got red dirt and red mud, and it's just you end up with a pit, right? And you don't think about it until you're in it. And so everybody that we talk to now, some people are just crazy landscape people that's what they live for, and they're out there planting grass and trying to put flowers in during construction. And we're like, hey, we're gonna kill all of this.
Right.
Let us get at least a little further along before we do this. But for the overwhelming majority of people, that final little mist of straw and seed is it. And then they move in, and then it dawns on them. Oh wow, we have 2 or 3 acres here that we've got to landscape.
Well, and for me, I mean, and landscaping, gardening is one of my hobbies. I love doing it, and I completely, I think, overestimated what it was going to take. And I don't mind saying I'm 63 now, and I thought to myself, when we decided to do this, can I still, handle all that? I mean, not. I think now that it's done, yeah, I'm not worried about taking care of it. But can I put in a fence? Can I put in all those gardens? Can I lay sod? And it's like, yeah, I think I can still do it. I think I overestimated the amount of effort, the amount of time, and what it was going to cost. I mean, like the house, I think for the most part, we were spot on for the budget. I'll never not take the advice of someone like you when you tell me about grading or about how many loads of dirt, or I think we were talking earlier about somebody put their own driveway in. And it was a cost consideration because, we weren't tapped out, but we were spending a lot of money. It's like, yeah, I'll get those things after the fact. And I'm sure I saved some money by doing it. But, with hindsight being 2020, it took a lot of dirt to make it right. So you really need to think about those things, I think, when you're planning, when you're getting ready to build. And probably you're building a $500,000 house, you better think about, a 10% push in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. For overages, for overruns.
For sure. And the variable is how much land do you have?
Right.
How long's your driveway? Yeah, that was good. It's good feedback, right? Everybody we talk to, that's the one thing that they go back and say, man, I ate my lunch. It's a lot. And they're coming from a neighborhood setting to a rural setting, and it's just a lot more, right? A lot more upkeep, a lot more to put it all in. So let me ask you this. You went through the onboarding process, you picked out the plan, you did all the modification. That's the fun part, right? Like that's fun. It's all dreaming and visualization. Then you get to the point where it's time to go. Deposits paid, it's time to break ground, and then construction starts. And construction is a long, arduous process. There's a lot of ups and downs in that. So going back, and I want to ask each of you specifically.
So this episode is sponsored by the Barndo Co. You can visit us online at thebarndoco.com and get started building your dream barndominium today. We specialize in build on your lot turnkey barndominium solutions. We have a whole gallery of plans that you can explore through. You can also go full custom route. You can get in touch with us through the website by filling out the contact us form, and one of our Barndo professionals will reach out to you, get your dream started today.
What was the single worst part for you going into it blind? And if you were to articulate it to someone starting the process, like this caught me off guard and this drove me insane building new construction, what would that be?
I'll let you go first.
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
Well, Marty's loaded. He's like, I got mine.
I know he does.
Well, I made you miserable because I would get angry and then I would take it out on you, which wasn't fair. And I
think the
would get
first
angry
part-
regularly.
But the first part goes so quick. Like the foundation comes in and the forms and everything is poured and you're like, man, and then the studs are going up and that's like bam, 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 bam. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, where did I go? Like, are they coming back?
It does slow down. That's
and
a very good point.
I grew up around real estate and construction my entire life. So it's like in the back of your mind, this, but you're like, well, this is my house. Where are you guys? It's 8:30 and you're still not here yet, But I think that was it. But I mean, overall, it's just you have to have patience and you have to try to, not get so frustrated and, be in touch. I mean, fortunately, he was able to be on hands a lot, which I think was very helpful. So, I think it's just at first it seems to go so quick and then all of a
And then it
sudden it's like the reins get pulled back and that's not to anybody's fault, right? It's just that's how the process is. So, but it was fun. This was my first time ever having a brand new home. So, it was a lot for me. I was just like, well, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Ask him.
No, it's good. It's common, right? And it is a little bit of a hurry up and wait. And the cool thing about Barndo is that initial phase for us goes super fast with framing. And then it starts to have that lull effect and you realize, oh wait, yeah, no, that it is going to be a long process.
Right.
You get so hopeful. And that first
Mhm.
that first 30-day run, you're like, oh man,
They're going to be done in no time.
we
Man,
might
we're
as well
gonna
go
be
ahead
in
and start
there
picking out
tomorrow.
furniture.
Yeah, and I think if you had all of the trades at your beck and call, like some builders do,
Yeah.
and you could just bring one trade in after the next, yeah, I'm sure you could probably build it in 4, 5, 6 months.
Yep.
And I think one of the things for me was probably setting some unrealistic expectations because I think you said 6 months. Cliff, who was our project manager, said, oh, I'll build it in 5 or 6 months. And then, 5 became 6, became 7, became 9, and we weren't close. And that was frustrating. But we onboarded right before the holidays, right before
2
Christmas.
weeks before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so Thanksgiving, I think we had the plans and had money to our deposit, right before or after Christmas. So then we got into the new year. If you remember, we had permitting problems because we were the first one in Dorchester County.
Yep.
So that took time. Then we had rain and then we had some water on the bottom of the property. So we took care of that. We finally got the forms in. We finally got some cement poured. Framing went up pretty quick. And then we had issues passing inspections because you didn't know what they wanted and they weren't very good at articulating what they wanted. So it was a back and forth. But Jen's right. It was after it was framed and, metal went on, windows went in. It's like, oh, this is really moving along good now. And then it got painfully slow. And we went through a couple project managers and, I know you had some problems, with some of your subs, things happen. I think for you, and I don't know what you tell people now, I think I would never tell anybody 5 or 6 months. I might start at 9.
Well, no, what I want to speak to that is I love that. I told you when we got on here, I want all the real hard honesty because there's things at play there, right? One is we talk a whole lot now about present day, right? We get on here and we articulate process, time to get through this, how this operates, what market, how that works. And it comes from being in business now for multiple years in this area, right? When you came, the worst it ever been. And the fact that we can even sit down at a table and have conversation, living and having endured that, it's the worst it has ever been and ever will be in this market, right? So now it's not uncommon. Still in this area, if you're in this low country area, we would never say 6 months because it's just really hard. The counties here, from the coast, from Charleston County all the way up through Dorchester, Berkeley County, it's arduous with them, and they do things differently, and there's different soil compositions and the way septics and everything here are like. Those are things you kind of learn, and so for this area a more realistic timeline of what things look like. There are parts of our service area where we can 100% go from permit to door key inside of 6 months. We've done them as fast as 100 days. Um, that's not. We don't use that language. We're not going to promise anybody that. And we did. You said something about setting bad expectations. We also did that as a young company. We had a pretty good idea of what expectations were where we were, and then moving into new areas. And so those are all things of being a young company, right? We knew at the end of the day we're going to give you a great product, right?
Sure.
There was no doubt in any of our mind of like what the end result was going to be. But there's a whole lot of not knowing how long it's going to take to get there and what all I was going to encounter. And like you guys did that. You're in a brand new market, which is still to this day the toughest market to push homes across the finish line in, right? I, Berkeley County probably being number one,
Right.
Charleston County number two, and then this county is number three, right? Like that, it's just tough. And Berkeley County is humongous. And so we know to date, right, 4 years into this thing, this is the hardest market to build this product in. They don't like it. They don't like it because it's different. They don't like that they have to look at something different when they come out here. They're overwhelmed. This is one of the fastest growing areas. All those guys are overworked. I don't think it's personal. I think it's here we go again, right? I got to go out here and look at
Yeah.
this stuff that isn't what I'm looking at 9,000 times a week. And I've got to dig into these structurals, and I got to, really challenge myself to go in here and really do this. And in the beginning, they fail anything they looked at because they didn't understand the process. It has got better. We've done a lot of builds here. And so now they kind of know what they're looking at when they look at our builds.
Right.
Because it's just different. But it has improved. Getting good staff down here, getting roots, getting the same culture and core values that you guys witnessed when you came to Duncan for an OBX event to be localized here took a little longer than we anticipated too, because you got a skeleton crew in a new market, all trying to figure it out. They're all new. It's a new system in a new area. And I think there was a lot of pains there. The good thing about it is, for me, is especially with someone like you, I talked to you more in those early days than anybody that I talked to. Like, but you were very hands on here, right? You would never lose your cool. You would send me.
I wouldn't lose it with you.
You would send me like requests, and it was really like I just want to know,
Right.
And it was the most valuable feedback that I could have ever gotten as an owner of a company in a new market with new process and new people to become the best. Because we set out to be that, and we still work because I don't think there's anybody else. But that was a very low bar, right? Now the ability to have that feedback and navigate through the challenges and the obstacles of this area, and the challenges and obstacles of just a new area in general, has helped us master it to where we can now go into new markets with way more strategy and launch a little more effectively than we did when we did this. This was Office 2, right? And so I'm thankful for that. Like every one of the Facebook messages or text messages or late night phone calls was worth it because it was helping us become what we set out to be, which was to be the best. And you can't run from it. That's why I'm not afraid to talk about any of that. Like we're here sitting on the back porch of a gorgeous home that people literally fawn over online with the mate, like just the birds chirping, a little trickle of rain. Like this is fantastic. And this wouldn't be possible if we hadn't started and made it through that process. And honestly, looking back, 80% of the things that we talked about with you is just the typical stress that a homeowner's experiencing regardless of the system.
Sure.
So even if it would have been done in 5 months, you would have felt 80% of what you felt just on a different timeline. And so part of that's just growing and doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes versus tens and 20s of homes. But as a business owner, I could tell you this: if you're listening to this and you own a business, you cannot run away from a conflict or an issue or a problem. You need to lean into it understand what's going on, attack it the best you can, and know that at some point you're going to get to the final destination, and it doesn't have to end with two people that hate each other, right? Like it doesn't. Like it it I and I feel like it happens all the time because people forgot how to communicate, right?
Yeah.
They just forgot, or they're afraid to communicate. And I've never felt that way. Like I just never have. Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't
Well, I
know.
think
But like,
COVID changed, I think, everything for everyone. I think people just communicated differently before and after. They act different before and after. And people just never got over that.
Mhm.
And people that reach out to me, they ask about you, they ask about the company. I tell them a couple of things. Number one, building a house is stressful as hell. Number two, I don't think my experience will be your experience because they've been here for over a year now. They had that infrastructure in place, and we had our ups and downs, but in the end, it was fine. And I think it's everything that we talked about. It just took a while to get from A to B.
Yep.
And we're good with it.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We didn't get an opportunity to start with one. I think you were the first, and then we had 27
Mhm.
on the heels of it. And so,
Yeah.
and that's been our cadence everywhere we go.
Right,
It's just,
right.
it's good, but it's also very, very difficult.
Sure.
Let's switch a little bit and talk about what is your favorite thing or feature in the home, right? Because you took it out of a brain, you're talking to a designer, and you're trying to somewhat spec that thing, and then it's done. What was that for you, Marty?
Hmm. Well, I love the garage, although I really haven't gotten it to where I want it to be. It's sort of been a back burner project. It's
Well, you're a full-time landscaper. You can't.
yeah, and it can never be big enough, that's for sure. I like it overall. I like the custom touches. We did the bedrooms a little bit different on the other side. The Jack and Jill bath. I think it's cozy. It's big enough for us, and a couple of guests. I mean, I don't know if I want to raise 2-3 kids here, but I like my space. So I don't think there's anything in particular. I think it's the whole. I mean, it just. I mean, we planned it. We picked everything out that went into it. I just think it came together really nicely.
Good.
Yeah.
How about you? What's your favorite feature?
I'm with him. Love the whole house, but my favorite is probably this porch.
Yeah.
You will find me out here the minute it is decent enough to be out here sitting, reading, or in the pool. But no, I don't think that we really thought we would use the porch as much as we really do. I mean,
I certainly didn't.
no, and it's my favorite overall, but I do like the whole house too.
I like it. I love these porches
The
too.
kitchen
I
island.
think it really needed to be screened. I mean, especially in the low country,
Yeah.
bugs
Yeah.
are a big issue. And the pool, I didn't want it. I didn't think we needed it. I didn't think I would use it. It was a deal. I wanted the big garage, and Jen wanted the pool. So I got the garage. She got the pool. I love the pool. I mean, I really do. I use it a lot more than I thought I would. Probably not as much as she does, but yeah. I mean, but to me, it's the whole package. Really.
Yeah.
All right. If you were to do it again, what would you change?
When?
Yeah. See, I always be closing. Let me and Jen talk. What would you do different, right? Apart from hiring us to do the landscaping, what would you have changed?
You go first.
We do talk about this, but not that there's really not much I think that I would change. One thing would probably be our entrance for the laundry room, maybe making it a tiny bit wider. And there's a light switch that's missing somewhere that we feel like we should have done. It's like you go in and you're like, well, that was never planned. Why am I flicking my finger to turn on a light that's not here? And I think it is in that hallway, but really, there is nothing else. I mean, like he said, it's just the two of us. It's a perfect size. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
How about you?
there's an outlet here or there that shouldn't be where it is. There is one light switch that I constantly reach for the switch that isn't there, but it is in that hallway. Like I said to you earlier, I guess if money wasn't an object, I don't think I would have picked a different model. I think I would have try to pick up a couple feet on either end just to make the rooms a little bit bigger. I kid about the garage. It's a 1,200 square foot garage, but I don't think you can have a big enough garage.
Yeah.
And when I built it, it's like, this is ridiculous. Why did I do this? I don't need. You can fill it up quick. That's for sure. But other than that, no, I don't think there's. I might position it a tiny bit differently, although I like the way it sits on the lot. I would have brought in more dirt and had done more of that, grading work up front. But no, I mean, I love it.
Everybody that I asked that question to says I would have built bigger. And it is regardless of how big the house is, right? If they build a 1,200, 2,400, or a 5,400 square foot house, first thing is I think I ought to win a little bigger here.
But our plan was to downsize though. So, we wanted something a little more compact, a little more manageable.
And I think too, the one thing that a lot of people don't realize that you do, that everybody, when we tell them this, they're like, wow, that's really unique, are the wider doorways.
And you got into doing all these things, and then I gotta talk about this is we built a Barndo
Yes.
in downtown
Spartanburg.
on just a postage stamp lot that you had acquired, and it just kind of, you came to me and were like, I don't know what to do here. Can we build something here? And we kind of started that process. And
Yep.
we built. We ended up calling it like a Berkeley plan, but it's way different because there was so many different things we did there with the basement and how we built this thing. And it's like dead in the downtown center of
Yep.
Spartanburg, and it stands out like, and then they've cut the side down on 29 now to where, like, if you're paying attention, you see it. Like,
You see it on the hill, yeah.
and talk about that process. Like, what was that? What's the difference for you in building new construction as an investment versus the fix and flip market?
Okay. So I really enjoy taking something ugly and making it beautiful. And I think when you do that, you kind of already have some constraints in place, and it boosts creativity, right? So I do enjoy the challenge of doing something ugly into beautiful. With the Barndo, I had seen that model on Pinterest, I think years before, and I had pinned it. And I think we were having a conversation, and you started talking about barndominiums. And then I went back to it and I was like, could we make this? And then you're like, yeah. And I was like, what? So then I started really thinking about what that would look like. Derek and I started designing, and then we asked you, what's the price per square foot? You told us. We started designing like what's the smallest footprint we can get for a 3-bed, 2-bath. We went and did that. And then we came back to you and you said, well, because it's so because the land drops so steeply, you're going to have a really tall basement. So you might as well finish that too. And we're like, we could get 2 for the price of 1. And you're like, hey, I guess. Yeah. So that was very exciting to be able to
2
kind
for
of
the price of 2.
It ended up being more expensive because of, the basement and the waterproofing and the blah, blah. But that was really exciting, I'd say. Now, did it take super long? Yes, because it was in the city limits. There were a lot of unknowns. It was a duplex. It was up and down. The city didn't know how to deal with that.
And we changed it because, like, originally we were like, hey, we'll just build this thing. And then you were like, I can always cut it, and we could do upstairs and downstairs rentals. And then, the more municipalities get involved.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we made the call, hey, this is going to be a duplex.
We said those words. We shouldn't have said the words,
And-
but we said the words, and then it opened a whole other can of worms, right? Oh, how about the sewer? Yeah. So it was, the property was below the street level, so we couldn't connect to the sewer unless we put an expensive pump or something.
Yeah.
But then there was a Hail Mary moment where there's a sewer that connects to the back somewhere that we had to figure out where it was. The city didn't.
Somebody put it in under the radar 30 years prior.
Spartanburg Water was like, we didn't know something like that was there, so they added it to their drawings. It was insane. I'm gonna say there was a lot of pains involved, and it was also a time where Barndo was really in their growth phase. It was in the growing pains,
Mhm.
you guys we got to see a lot of different project managers, some better than others.
Yeah.
And I think by the time we finished, you had the team that you're working in right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was really cool to see that transformation. I'm the person interacting with you, but like on my husband's side and our investors were like, what's taking so long? And I was just like, I know what's taking so long. It's like there's no way around it. That was just one of those, real estate problems.
Well, look, from your perspective,
Yeah.
it's a time constraint, and it's
Yeah.
like eating. Anything you're building eats cash.
Oh yeah.
It eats cash until you close it and you get to the end of that transaction, and then you have some cash exchange again where you can move on. You can take the next step, but
Mhm.
it eats every day that goes by.
Yeah.
And then for us, it was figuring out that type of environment in that setting with all these different parameters, like, because it transformed into what it became. It became a show-stopping property. I mean, before you guys took keys, I think I probably took 200 people over there to see it because,
Mhm.
We get calls all the time from investors that want to build, and they're like, "Hey, we want to do it," and same thing, like we want to. Small footprint with the accommodations for 3-2. That's the magic word.
Right. 3-2.
3-2.5. That you're in the magic moment.
Yeah.
And we had created that, and it's such a cool little plan, and it looks so it's a monitor style barn, so
Yeah.
it has that barn feel, and it stands out like a monument in the middle of that
When
hill that
you're
it's built on.
when you enter the property and you see those, I don't know, is it 20 feet high ceilings right in the middle, and I think the sunrise is towards that back window, and it's just magical.
Yeah.
What we did in there is we put there's this golden disc that we put in a certain position that when the sun hits it, it's so beautiful. But it's just we had to get there.
Yeah. No, well,
And it took the vision. It took vision. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of conversations.
well, it helped us write the book on inner city development too, because
That's a good one.
typically from a Barndo's perspective, we're pulling up on 100 acres of dirt or 50 acres of dirt or 20 acres of dirt. Small lots, 5 acres of dirt,
Mm-hmm.
and then to take a vision like that and capture it on literally a tenth of an acre.
Yeah.
And it's at a 40% incline slope, and
Mhm.
it's on all city municipality, like sewer and waste and water, and it's a duplex, and like
What about your investors that don't want to spend money?
yeah. Well,
They're just like, what?
we're trying to solve all these problems,
Yeah.
and it was a great thing because we did something that to my knowledge, had not been done before with that type of product and that type of environment.
Mhm.
And it's different, but it helped us build a pathway to have conversations about it. Like, hey, potential hurdles, guys. This is what you're not thinking about.
Yep.
We did a similar project, a tiny project in downtown Greenville,
Mhm.
and it was insane. All the red tape and
Yep.
stuff that you have to do to operate in those environments, and it's no wonder. It's no wonder that in some of these areas, cost of buildings 3 times what it should be. And it's because you're dealing with all these additional steps
Yep.
and all these additional permits and fees and and you're always waiting on someone.
Mhm.
And it gets really frustrating, but it helped us build out a blueprint to say, hey, look, yeah, we can do it. Here's proof. Here's things we've learned along the way, so we can have a better expectation of what it looks like, and there was just so many things inside of those first few years of Barndo that every time we broke ground in a new county, new state, on a new type of dirt, you're learning.
Yep.
And, learning costs money too. And so it's you can't, and from my perspective, I was talking to a business owner. It's say yes to a lot of things and fail quickly.
Yes.
Because the faster you fail, the better you can correct. And then if you take it back out, you have something to go off of. You will freeze yourself what do they call it? Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, for sure.
If you try to get it right, you're never going to get it right on paper the first time. It's not going to work. You can get close, but you're not going to get it exactly right. You just got to jump and say, okay. And there's constraints. You can only spend this much money. We can only do what the county will allow us to do. And then we find ourselves in the middle solving problems that we would have never encountered if we hadn't have said yes. And then from that, you write a playbook on how to do it again. And so we've done that
Okay.
a few other times on smaller lots, different slopes, and like we perfected the basement Barndo. And so
There's
it's
a
like
name. It's called
yeah,
a base.
a
Oh,
basement Barndo. Like it's everybody asks the question, and everybody's like, yeah, you can do it, but there is a way to do it
sure.
and be efficient with it, and we've got it dialed in now. We've done 50 probably on basements.
So
And
I'm
there's-
very happy to hear you say that because I do have another basement type lot available. It's not in Spartanburg.
Oh, praise God! Where?
Duncan?
Okay, well, yeah, we can make that happen.
Yeah.
But that was fun, and like, had you guys done new construction prior to that? That was your first.
That was our first new construction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
That was the first one. Definitely not going to be our last. Like I said, the Duncan one that's
what are
coming
you
up.
doing with that space now? Is it long term? Like, is it how do you?
It's short term. So upstairs and downstairs are rented. And I'm trying to do more like midterm where people come for work. They stay a week, 2, 3 months at a time. Right now, one of them is rented for like insurance people that got displaced from Helene. And yeah, the upstairs has been vacant for like a week, but it turns around. You know, it's
definitely
done
unique.
really, really well.
It's definitely unique.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, I guess answer this question: if an investor came in and they wanted to build a barndominium,
Mhm.
and they're looking at opportunities and all these different things from the standpoint of it's done and the differentiating factor when they're looking at other properties and they see that property,
Mm-hmm.
what's your perspective on it as a product offering?
It's definitely one of the jewels of our portfolios, I'd say. Like it looks really, really pretty. But in order for the numbers to make sense, it's not going to be, I don't know if you can build them like that, but I don't think you can build them for a long-term rental.
Right.
Or unless you're doing like by the room or something like that. Airbnb is a good option for that. And we've stayed with Airbnb, but I don't know that it would work. The numbers would not work.
We almost have to go multifamily now to make money on long-term rentals.
Exactly.
Or buy rehab properties.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, because your cost of acquisition can be lower than your cost of construction every time.
For sure.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and again,
Although when we started building Barndo, like it was probably that sweet spot where it was still probably affordable to do long term if we had
Yeah.
upstairs and downstairs. But by the time we were done, we figured out our ROI would be way better with Airbnb, and it was just so stunning. It would photograph perfectly, so that's why we went with that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So an investor, I'd say, it all depends on like your money making strategy. It's all
Well,
possible.
We talked about it a little bit. What was your biggest hurdle in building? What was the part that was the most frustrating?
I'd say it was. I can't say the city. They're gonna see that, right? Trying to build relationships here.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, it's a realistic
It was,
obstacle.
it was that it was new to everybody. It was new to us. It was new to the city, and it was new to you guys, right? So there's a lot of the risk that wasn't able to be assessed initially. So I'll take, like, we're trying to pass rough ends, right? And we have the inspectors come out and they say, what? I wish I had Bobby. It was something like they were just really not sure how much more we needed to do for fire protection, because most duplexes are side by side and this one was up and down, right? Usually have the up and down when it's a quad, and then you have to do like more intense stuff. So that was definitely challenging for them to kind of go and redefine what that would be like. So we had like a couple of those inspections. So each inspection is like, you can count 2 weeks, right?
100%.
They come and say, and then we strategize and see what to do. So one time they came and they said we needed to like put foam around all the can lights. And then the next time they said, okay, yes, you did that, but maybe we need to do this extra stuff. So that was really challenging, I think, for all parties because we didn't know it yet. But now
it's an
since you have
uncontrollable variable. so-
exactly. So now that you have the playbook, we'll know that, hey, before we pass inspection, we need to do these. And even if this county doesn't require it, let's go ahead and cover all our bases, right?
Yep.
That one was really, really challenging. And then I'm the interface, right? And then the investors are like, what's taking so long? So there was a lot of pressure on this end.
Yeah.
But I totally understood what was going on. It wasn't like a case of idleness on either side, right? It was just issues.
Yep. Well, I tell everybody coming into it that building is hard
Yep.
and long and painful, and you can control what you can control, and you can't control what you can't control.
course.
Weather, municipalities, material shortages, those kinds of things are going to happen. They're going to occur, and it's just how you navigate through them. And then at the end,
Mhm.
you said it 16 times. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's great. We want to do it again.
Yeah.
And like,
You forget the pains.
yeah. Well, people like it's hard.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the middle of a crisis moment, you don't have an experience of what's after.
Right.
And so, once you get there, I would tell everybody, like, once you get there, you move in, you live there, that eases up a little bit, because you're in a sustainable mode now. Like it's just done,
Yep.
and you're not solving those problems. Now you're reaping the benefits of them. And so, that's always fun. It's always fun to get a perspective of that. Cause like I love feedback, and
Yeah.
I tell everybody, you ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Like I want to know what part sucked, what part was great. How do I get better at that? How do I showcase the good parts better? Like all those things, because we're committed to being the best. And like, we have, like, there's definitely things where we're going to fumble, but can we pick up the ball and run?
Yep.
And so that's just the way we approach everything. But it was a blessing working with you. Like, I mean, I knew you were dealing with your side. I would tell everybody, like, I was like, guys, like, you got, like, every day that ticks by is eating cash out of this deal. And like,
Because prices had started going up for materials from the time you quoted me to the time, we needed to put drywall or whatever. The prices had been like slowly creeping up, right? It was that 2021, 2022 time frame when
nightmare.
Yeah. So everybody was kind of on edge, but there was just no faster way, I think. It was just crazy.
Well, you definitely turned what most people would consider an unusable lot in downtown Spartanburg into a masterpiece. So if you like the transformation, you got it there.
Oh, for sure. And it's like after you guys gave it back to us, we had to put our custom finishes to it.
You had to go dax it up.
Yeah, we had to dax it up. And then the upstairs turned out beautiful and expected because it had the high ceilings, blah, blah, blah. But the downstairs, the basement unit, that's the one that people are usually most shocked about because they weren't expecting, because even the basement has like 12-foot ceilings.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah.
That's massive. So you get that when you build on a vertical lot. So
vertical-ish. Yeah. Vertical.
you were like, here's the street, and then down there is not our property. It's this piece right here that we want to build on.
Well,
And
also, you guys there was like a bonus, like little loft area too.
Yep.
That came out of that by surprise, I think. And we were just like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
So
No, the whole thing turned out amazing. I love
think
it.
so,
If
too.
you guys want to see it, you can go onto our Facebook page and just type in City Barn, and that's what we called that one the whole time. And you can look at the pictures and the videos from it because it turned out stunning. And we got pictures before you went in there and did your facelift on it. And,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's a beautiful property. But man, I thank you for coming on here.
Yeah, I
and
appreciate
spending
it.
some time and talking.
I'm Heather Desjardens, and we just finished our Barndo in July.
Awesome. Yep, Eric Desjardens, built in Gray Court. So when we both moved here, we both moved to the Greenville area. So bought a chunk of land in Gray Court and decided to have Barndo co-build our home.
So what made you guys want a Barndo?
The openness, the tall ceilings, the open floor plan, just that great room, literal great room feeling.
So which one of y'all was the one that found Barndo and brought it up?
I found it.
Yeah,
I found,
you was quick to answer. I was like,
yeah. Well, we both knew that was kind of the direction we wanted to go. We didn't realize kind of how far Barndos had come. We still were like, okay, this is just going to be a big open barn, and we've got to like finish it, which we weren't opposed to actually.
Right.
But when we found you guys, you were definitely the most turnkey company, and the pictures kind of sold it.
Yeah, that's funny. We actually did a Q&A episode talking about. There was a gentleman moving from Wyoming to Charleston, and he's like, I'm in, but my girlfriend doesn't like Barndos. How could y'all help me convince her? We're like, take her to one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the key.
So how did you find us? Just a Google search? Or?
Yep, just looking online for local Barndo builders, and there's not very
No.
many. At least there weren't when we started looking.
Yeah, there was a couple in yeah, one's not in business anymore, and you
Right.
guys came
Yep.
highly recommended. And, it was the website and a lot of pictures, and you have a lot of information on the build and the process. So you're able to go on your website and there's a lot of information. We're
Right.
able to scroll through all the different finished barndos that you have and pick and choose what we were looking for as far as the style goes. We built custom, but we kind of pulled a map from the Willow plan.
Mhm.
So that was one of the
Needed some
good
tweaks,
parts. Yep.
but so if I could recommend anything, it's go custom if you have any doubt on any of the floor plans, because that process for us was amazing. No issues, like listened, got exactly what we were looking for.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
100%.
So when you first found us, you had the conversation, right? And everybody's kind of got questions. They want to know process and
Sure.
pricing and all those things. And then, we talk about our onboarding process. And now a lot of times people find that before they ever get on the phone. Like they kind of say, like, you guys did this onboarding thing.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people come to the call kind of prepared for that conversation. What about you guys? Was it like, y'all knew about onboarding prior to?
Yeah,
Um,
we had seen that, I think, online. We'd seen
Right.
the whole onboarding, um, I guess, process. So
Right.
we kind of knew what to expect with that. So
And
that
we
was a breeze.
drug our feet for a while.
We did.
From the time that we first made contact and got all the information till the time we were like, yeah, let's go.
It was about a year, I
Yeah,
think.
we waited a little long.
She
But
was patient with us.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, it's one of those things where we tell people like you got to be ready because when you get in there, if you're not fully committed, it takes longer than it needs to, and then things happen, right? Like prices are changing and
Mhm.
things are it's
Yeah.
never ending, and we're not in control of any of that.
Right.
And so it's one of those things like we tell people, hey, when you onboard and you're ready to go, be ready to go
Yep.
because it's the faster we move, the more efficient this gets because now we've got lenders involved and like they're going to
Mhm.
hold this only for a certain period of time
Right.
and we've got a deadline. So you got onboarded, you went through the design, you did custom, which is absolutely the most challenging thing you can do because you got to take something from your brain, get it on paper, make it fit budget.
Yeah.
And then you've got to go in there and add all the selections and do different things. And sometimes you're designing and you design a kitchen and then you realize that's a $180,000 kitchen. Right?
Sure.
We
Yeah.
gotta do some adjusting here.
We got to shrink that down just a little bit.
Yeah.
So then you guys are newer clients, so you guys got to come into a showroom and kind of see some of the selections and stuff. And um, the what was that process like? And on the front end, getting to a contract, in terms of like, what did you feel like was like very beneficial by going through the onboarding because you didn't have to like really commit to something until it was exactly what you were looking for. And then what was some parts of that were really challenging for you guys?
Well, I mean, coming into it, really beneficial to have your selections on what you're going to install kind of honed down to one, two, or three levels.
3
Yeah.
levels, yeah.
Giving you the option to spend your money where you want to spend your money, upgrading to level 2 on, say, flooring. Now, you guys offer all level 1, so if somebody wants to come in and you're spending whatever it is per square foot across the board, that's okay. But you guys give updates for countertops and colors and flooring and carpet and different things like that. That's super beneficial, because the options are awesome, and you're not giving. At least when we went through, you're not giving too many options, because that can be a problem with someone
Yeah.
like me who's got 50 things to choose from. No, you've got 15 things to choose
Yeah.
from. Let's kind of hone in on that, So that was a great part of it.
Yeah.
As far as the challenging part of it, what do you think? Process was pretty easy.
Yeah, the process was great. I think knowing the pricing for all of the different things coming into it too, so we knew where we could say this is where we want to spend our money, and they were great about that. It's like, okay, we wanted the big open feel, but we didn't want a lot of square footage. So we were very honest about that. Like, this is the plan we want. Don't care about the bedrooms. If I spend too much time in the laundry room, I'm gonna be mad. So don't focus on that kind of thing. And knowing how much per square foot for finished, for covered, for garage, and being able to build off that. So that transparency was really nice for me.
How about grading?
Yep.
Was there any shock and awe in that?
There was.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Typically is
Yeah.
where it is because
Yeah.
we have a really good understanding of what the verticals are,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your dirt, and then we have to solve together. How do we get this ready to be built on.
Yep.
You know, and sometimes it's not very hard at all. It's like, hey, yeah, it wasn't that bad. Sometimes it's like, as a homeowner, you know, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
had no idea. So
For sure.
what was that experience like for you guys, and kind of like in terms of where you thought you would be and then what it was? And because it's probably the number one thing that people get in the system and then they end up not building because they maybe didn't hear that advice of like, hey, we need to be conscious of dirt
Mm-hmm.
coming into this, because it can make or break a budget here. And we do a lot of, you know, things as the process. We're always fine tuning. So some of the things we do now, we might not even done when you came through, in terms of getting dirt and understanding those costs and trying to allocate some funds for that on the front end. Because people, you know, will go in there and they'll do what you said, right? Oh, I like that level 3 this and level 2 this, and then dirt comes back and they're like, oh, we can't build.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, no, we can. We just got to take something away. You know,
Can't have everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we had our property is kind of built on a hill
It's
until you
sloped.
get to the
Yeah.
bottom. So we had to build our pad up, and of course we had held to pay that did the grading, and he had a pretty good solution because we had a spot on our property where he was able to pull the dirt from.
Yeah.
Which
So
he
we didn't
said
have to
the
buy
first
dirt.
time he came out, he was very clear on this is going to save you a ton of money. We'll pull excavator, reach down as far as they can, get all that dirt, and they built the entire pad up with just the dirt from our property. So that saved us a lot of money. It was a great solution to the problem. And they got it to the point where it was compaction tested and it's kind of exactly where we wanted it.
Yeah, I will say I think it took a couple of visits. I think even Hell to Pay was a little bit more challenging than what they initially expected. They came out for that first walk when it's still really rough, right? And then the second kind of visit when it's clear and you actually get to really see what it looks like. I think he was like, okay, this might need a little more than originally thought. So it definitely had a couple of iterations.
No, it's a process to get there,
Yeah.
but it's literally the most important part.
Yes.
And you know, if you skimp there,
It's the foundation,
You
for
got you
sure.
got long-term problems rather
Yeah.
than long-term value,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so, you know, so you go through that, and I'm trying to dive into it because you guys are like, hey, we had the best experience possible, but there's always these things.
Oh, yeah.
And I try to educate as many people as I can of like, this is no easy feat. It's a dream, and the end result is always phenomenal. But it's all that in between part where you got to be mentally strong to get
Yeah.
there.
For sure.
And so you go through that. We get everything tied up on a proposal. You guys accept proposal. We send it off. Everything's there, and then we get to construction. And then that is where I think people you've been invested in this for a while because you went custom. So that there's time invested in that. Showrooms back and forth. You know, trying to work together to come up with the budget, right? And accommodate grading and do all this. And now we're excited, we're ready to go. And then you get into the construction part, and then now you hit the real brass tacks of the process where things have to happen.
Yeah.
And you got real world scenarios and real things taking place on the property. And that takes people for a loop. So what would you say was your favorite part of the construction process? Like the moment where you're like, oh, this is awesome.
I will tell you that we had a bit of a challenge, whether it was logistics with Hell to Pay because they were working in North Carolina. We came in at a wet time of the year. The weather was horrible.
Unfortunately, we came in right after Helene. Well, right before Helene.
Yeah.
So
we had
that was a
good
struggle.
6 weeks, 2 months before really anything even took off. It was like, what is going on here? But, you know, and we've got money on the line, so we're frustrated.
Yeah.
We're frustrated with Barndo. We're frustrated with, but it's understanding when you look back on it, it's not really anybody's fault,
Right.
So that was challenging in the beginning, is not watching anything happen for 2 months. It's like, okay, we're getting ready to start making interest payments, so
Yeah.
that was a
Oh, I feel
challenge
you.
for sure. But I think the most exciting thing for me was not the slab, although it was awesome. It was when they put those black trusses up. And we walked in there for the first time, and I was able to get a picture with everybody's around working, and there's wood everywhere, and I see those, and that's exactly what I've seen in pictures. And I was like, that's all I really wanted out of this place. 2x6 exterior walls and those black trusses in my crate room. So for me, that was the best part, was that one time able to get that that real picture of the room with the fireplace and all that. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. I do think that I'll go back a little bit further. He said the foundation, but for me, the foundation and then having the walls go up
Yeah.
and actually seeing like, okay, we've seen this house on paper for months
Mm-hmm.
now, and then pulling down there and going, holy crap, this is a long house because we did a single story.
Yeah.
So it's long, it takes up a lot of a footprint.
Yeah.
So seeing that and going, wow. And then seeing the views that we're going to have from the different areas in the house once it's actually there, that in the initial phases, that was what did it for me.
Yeah, well, it's always funny because everyone has that anticipation build up because we're always, as much due diligence as we do, typically a loan closes and either we just got a permit in hand or we're fighting to get permits or the county's requiring something goofy to get a
Yes.
permit. And so there's always this like anticipated build up and every client is the same. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm paying money now.
Yeah,
Nothing's
yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
And there's a lot happening. It's just not happening there.
Yes.
Right. And so everyone faces that. So like if you're looking at building, this is real world. Like
Be patient.
I'm telling you now, there is going to be a point in your build where it feels like nothing's happening.
100%. Yeah.
And then we pour slabs, and most people go, "Oh my gosh, this is the smallest house ever." And then we put walls up, and they're like, "Oh wait, no, this is pretty big."
When I walked through the slab for the first time after looking at an 80-foot house on paper for months and months and months, I was like, this isn't going to be big enough. I literally said that to myself. When it's all said and done, plenty big,
Yeah.
But when you see just the concrete there, your brain kind of switches to, oh my gosh, what do we do?
Yeah.
It looks long and skinny. And
Yeah.
if he would have told me that the pantry wasn't going to be big enough one more time, I would have put his bed in the pantry. And the pantry's plenty big enough. It's awesome.
All worked out. Yeah.
No, it's psychological because you've never been in that environment, and if you have, maybe once before, if you're coming in to build, and it's just funny because it's like everyone panics. 50% of people call us after or send a message on Builder Trend after the pour and go,
Something doesn't look right.
"This just feels really small.
Yeah.
Are we sure?" I'm like, "Guys, the framing crew will be there in a week.
Yeah.
Let the cathedral moment's what we call it. When
Right.
the walls go up and the trusses fly, then walk in, and
Yeah.
then it feels way bigger than you ever dreamed." But it's kind of a fun thing. Now, let me ask you this: apart from the 2 months of weather and startup and permits and stuff like that, where it's like eating your patience away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What was something in the process that maybe didn't go according to plan? Something that was challenging, that was like difficult as the homeowner in the building process?
Didn't go according to plan. I mean, I guess, I don't know if it's the suppliers or some of the communication was a little bit difficult or seemed lacking. And it's not just like from us to the project manager or through Barndo or whatever it was, but some wrong materials would show up and then the same wrong materials would show up again. And so just kind of and lucky for us, not so lucky for Dan, we had chickens out there. So we were out there every other day. So we saw everything that was going on. So that's a catch-22. That's a good thing and a bad thing. So I think that visibility that we had sometimes hurt our patience and our stress levels a little bit too, because we did see it all. Instead of looking at the end result and the big picture, we were focused on what we saw that
Individual
day.
things.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff, sometimes things go awry, right? You got material issues and things like that. Like those are just human errors that they pop up at different phases for different people. Because humans are involved in all of it.
Absolutely.
The other side of it is in construction, it's kind of like baking a cake. It doesn't look like cake until it's out of the oven, assembled and iced. But it feels like in construction, you go forward and then go backwards.
Yes.
Yep.
And
For sure.
homeowners are like, "Oh my gosh." It's just part of the process, One of the things, and now we do it in our orientations, we talk about it. We're like, "Hey guys, they're going to frame your home. Then the plumber's going to come in there and knock some studs loose to put tubs and toilets and things in. You don't have to call us and tell us. They'll come back through and
We'll fix it.
reattach those
Yeah.
studs,
Yeah.
But it's some of it's just it's the nature of building. Something happens and then it looks like something got damaged, and then it's like something happened and it's like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? And then the mud and the dirt and there's things and it's like it looks bad
It's part of the process.
until it's a cake.
Yeah, we were. I mean, recommendations for anybody building, whether it's with Barndo Co. or another builder, is we were diligent. I was a builder for 12 years, so I was able to kind of step into things and maybe see something that's wrong. Not saying it wouldn't have been caught and taken care of down the road, but we were out there all the time, so we were able to catch things maybe before it got 2 months down the road, and it's like, oh, we got to pull siding off to change these light fixtures and all this. And so we kept lists. We didn't hound anybody. We were very fair on our text messages.
No, it's one of those things where the better you are in partners,
Mhm.
the better the experience is for everyone. We
Mhm.
don't mind like the diligent piece.
Mhm.
We prefer it. There's a lot of the stuff, 80%. There's a checks and balances to where it does get caught, but homeowners, it's your investment.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're never going to get people to not be there. And the crazy thing is like 50%, maybe not quite that high now, 40 to 50%. People are living on the property
Yeah.
Yeah.
while we're building.
We thought about it.
And
Yeah.
they're, like the crew will pull off at 6 in the evening. At
Yeah.
6:03, Builder Trend's getting filled up because Bob and Mary have come out of the camper.
Checking everything
And
out.
they're taking pictures and they're
Yeah.
putting in requests for information for everything that's in that
Yeah.
build.
Yeah.
And, and we have to tell them, like, hey, feel free. If this is what it takes to give you peace of mind, we have no problem answering the questions. Where it goes awry is you do have people who, like, attack it. And then
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
like, you guys are just, this isn't right and this and this.
Like
and
you're doing it on purpose.
And we're going, hey, man, like, we do know that. Like, I promise you, like, we've built hundreds and hundreds of these. Like, we're not going to miss that.
Yeah.
Not saying we can't make errors, because we definitely
Sure.
can, but it's a lot of communication. That's one of the biggest things we focused on when we went from building 10 to building 100, and building beyond that is communication. Builder Trend was a big piece of that, to get everything in Builder Trend. That frustrates people too, because it's like, you're not used to Builder Trend when you start. By the end, you're a pro.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
when you first start, you're like, I don't want to have to do this because I could just text you or call you. But
Yeah.
when you start looking at it, like getting it all in that one space, everyone in my company
You
sees it.
see it. Yeah.
So you sent a message to Dan. Well, Dan saw it. Billy saw it. Connor saw it. Nick saw it. People in the back office saw it. Purchasing could see it. It could be something like the ability for the whole team to work on it and like work together and say like, look, we have a common goal here. We want to get done on time, on budget,
Mhm.
and we want it to be right.
Mhm.
Let's work together to get it done.
Yeah.
Like we appreciate the feedback. We appreciate those things. And so like it's trying to communicate and set an expectation. We didn't talk about this, but like before you started construction, you came in for pre-construction meeting, right?
Mhm.
RSB, you sit down and
Yep.
you meet Dan for the first time
Yep.
and
Yeah.
you kind of go through that, and then they go through this checklist of things with you and have you initial 4,000 boxes
Yep.
of like, the reason for that is simply so you have a roadmap that tells you kind of what our internal roadmap is, so you're on the same page,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? Because and people don't always go back to it, right? Like they see something, they immediately want to go to
Right.
Build Trend, but like it's like, yeah, look back on that document. You see here, you're going to get to walk through before we put drywall up. We're
Yep.
going to do
Yeah.
a pre-drywall inspection
Right.
with you. It's going to be fine. The Barndo Show is sponsored by the Southern Farmhouse Collection by the Barndo Co. If you are in the market for a new home, and maybe you've explored the barndominium side, but you need more space for your dollar, and you're limited by budget, check out the Southern Farmhouse Collection. What we've done is took a traditional build style, applied it to all the tried and true and loved and cherished Barndo Co. plans. You can check out more details about the SFH Southern Farmhouse Collection at thebarndoco.com. You talked about material delays and some communication there and things like that. That's all human elements. Anything else that you felt like maybe you weren't prepared for? You said you've been in construction, so it's
Mhm.
like you probably had a cutting edge advantage over some people. But
Sure.
being in that moment, you've invested a substantial amount of money into your dream home. And it's taking a long time, and there's
Mhm.
things going on. What was a moment where you felt like you did not anticipate that stress or that moment or something that went wrong that just felt like, oh, this whole thing's unraveling? What was that moment for you guys? Because everybody has one.
I don't know if we had anything terribly drastic that stands out. Now if you take all the little stuff that
Yeah.
I'm walking around and we're seeing a crack in the concrete slab,
Right.
but it was explained to us, and I kind of knew this. You're going to have some settling. It's going to happen. There's going to be flooring put over it, closet doors not framed and done right, just nothing
We
really
didn't have
major
a
outside of
single big thing.
the grading.
No.
Right.
Just on the fact that our land was so messed up,
Yeah.
so messed up that
Yeah.
we couldn't see, a solution to the
We
problem.
couldn't
to
see the
have,
cake.
we wanted flat ground,
Yeah.
and we knew it was gonna take a lot to get there. And so that was one thing for us, and that's nobody's fault but us for buying the land,
Yeah.
And we love the property. It's just where that specific house was. We wanted it right in the middle so we could have hunting down bottom and be away from the road. But they came up with a solution, took some dirt. We had to bring some dirt in, but now we have a flat yard. So that was one thing that was a little frustrating. But again, that's not really a Barndo fault, It was length of time. I think a lot
Yeah.
of times there'd be these spaces where nothing would happen.
Right.
And we're living in a 1-bedroom apartment, so we can't see the end of it. And
Yeah.
then there's a 1-week period where it feels like 3 weeks went by. So much
So
went
much
up,
got done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just kind of the process of
Yeah.
building,
I don't think there was ever an unraveling. It was the lulls that I think advice is you just have to be prepared for that. To anybody that's building, whether any kind of house, is be prepared for the lulls, have patience.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
for sure.
That's what I tell people. Like, if you have a 6-month timeline and it's really 3 30-day sprints of work being done
Mhm.
and 3 30-day gaps in between,
Yeah,
it's still 6 months. It just feels like an eternity.
It does.
it does.
For sure.
And so it's a lot of it's, scheduling. A lot
Mhm.
of it's, doing this and that little thing has to be taken care of. And these guys got to get back to that little thing. And it's just scheduling is the biggest piece. And we try to keep that updated in Builder Trend. We try to keep it as
Mhm.
current as you possibly can, considering, weather delays and all these other things,
Right.
anomalies that come along. But talk about move-in day. So you get to the end, you have your move-in day, and you get all your we won't talk about furniture because that's also horrible. But
Yeah.
you get moved in, right? And
Yeah.
you spend that first night there. What was your favorite part once it was all built and like your home now? Like, what's your favorite part of the house you designed?
For me, it's where we spend all our time. It was finally cooking in that awesome kitchen, taking advantage of the pot filler and all the cool stuff that we designed, and then sitting in our living room with those big tall ceilings. For me, that was it. Master bedroom's okay. Master bathroom's pretty cool. It's a nice tile shower.
Big tub. Yeah.
Yeah, huge tub, huge closet. It was the first night was just being in that space. That was the place that we'd been walking in and out of for 6-7 months that,
Yeah.
we were like, where's the furniture going to go? We've been in and out so many times. We knew where everything was going to go. So once it was all settled and done, that was the first night was just,
It was
Enjoy.
the first deep breath that I took and felt like I had room to do it.
yeah, we don't have
To
to go
let
back
it
to the
out.
apartment. This is it. Our bed's here. This is it. We have
Yeah.
things we have to move, but,
Yeah.
we're not there anymore. So,
Sitting outside on our back
Yes.
patio, we have a big back porch, covered porch, and on the front too.
Mhm.
And just sitting out there at night, and it's all you hear is the frogs and the crickets, coyotes maybe. So that for me was just, I felt at home.
yeah, it's all stuff you kind of just have in your mind of your dream, why you invested this much money in 7 acres of land and a barndo, is you get to finally enjoy it. So, yeah, it's awesome.
That's awesome. What would, from your perspective, what advice would you give someone who's having a conversation about to onboard? You said go custom, right? But
Yeah.
what apart from that, what other advice would you give someone that was just getting started?
Keep in mind the big picture. If you think you needed patience with small children, you got to have even more when you're building a house. I mean, and it's with adults, not children. So, have patience. If there's something that you're kind of tossing around, should I do this? Should I not? Should I, do that upgrade or add this, whatever it may be, do it, as long as it's within your means. If you can, take a square foot off somewhere, but that means you get a bigger porch or a custom whatever, do it, because at least for us, this is it. I'm not doing this again, and that was the plan, so don't have regrets.
Yeah.
When you're going to do something like this and jump into a project like this, just go for it. Don't have regrets.
That's good. How
For
about you?
sure. Yeah, like I mentioned before, patience is a big thing. Absolutely. You just got to trust in the you have to trust in the process.
Yep.
Whether it's with you guys or another builder, they're in it for a reason. They know what they're doing. It takes time. So the patience and pay attention,
Yeah.
have due diligence, really kind of watch what's going on. I know Barndo doesn't want people up in their business walking through telling subs what to do. That is definitely not what it is, but take a walk
No.
through every
Yeah.
few days. Catch things ahead of time. Don't hound your project manager, but
No.
certainly keep a list of stuff. I would say that it's going to make you feel better,
Yeah.
and it'll help
Yeah.
any of your project managers. Hey, here's a list. I'd like to, you put it in Builder Trend and let them know this is what we see. They'll either address it then or let you know that this is going to work. We've got 2 or 3 weeks. We'll take care of that type of thing. So,
Well, and
Yeah.
they like that because
Yeah.
when they understand your preference
mhm.
and they understand the things that you care about, they are attentive to it.
Sure.
And if
Mhm.
they don't know that,
Yeah.
then it's different, and everyone's different.
And I know they're busy too because,
Yeah.
5 to 7 houses that they're kind of
Yeah.
keeping track of.
Yeah.
And it's understandable that, you want to be patient with them too.
Yeah.
That's going to be another big
Yeah.
thing.
I think by the end, Dan definitely knew where our sensitive areas were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't mess with my kitchen, don't mess with my,
Yeah.
this.
This
And
is what's
so
important.
he, really focused
Yeah,
on
well,
those things.
everyone's different, right? And
Yeah.
and they have their system to get it. But if they know something's very urgent to
Yeah.
you, and if you're providing a list of things, it gives him something like something that maybe would have been caught in the next 2 weeks.
Mhm.
He could just go ahead and get it done today, and he's like, now look at the smiles on their faces, right? Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're there, and it's driving you insane, and you don't know the back end, you don't know the process, you
Yeah.
don't know when they're intending to fix that, so they love it. I tell all of them, like, the better you can lean in and understand them and understand, what makes them unique and what they really care about and what maybe they don't care about, like, the better experience they have and the better experience you're going to have
Yeah.
because everyone's got a different set of perspectives, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you were to start over, what's one thing you would do differently?
I'm bored sooner.
Yeah. Get it when the price per square
Yeah.
foot was a little bit lower
Yeah.
a year prior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been one of the things
No.
for sure. But
Yeah. But to do something differently, I'm pretty happy with all the
Yeah.
choices that we made. I definitely going custom. At that point, they were kind of testing out a fast track
Yep.
version of the design. And we had some late nights, some long sessions, but it went really well. We had our plans in what, two
2
weeks?
weeks.
I think
It was
2 weeks,
finished
fully
and
custom and
submitted.
done. Yeah. So I don't know what I would do
We
differently.
thought long and hard about this Barndo.
Yeah,
So
like we
there's
said,
not really a lot that we would change as far as
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
what's something that you did custom to yours that you would highly recommend someone else to do?
Just focus on the areas that are most important to you. For us, it was the kitchen and the big open living area and the outside space.
Yeah.
So focus on that. If bedroom size and bathroom size and closet size isn't important to you, let it go. Just build a box, put a bed in it, and you're good if you're happy with that. So Yeah.
Our back porch was something that was we designed it on the first phase, and I was looking at it one day and I was like, why don't we just extend that thing over another
10 feet,
10
yeah.
feet? I'm like, let's get it in between that other back window. So, because we had it just kind of over the kitchen window and the slider. That was it. And I just thought we wasted so much space there. But it was a quick phone call or a quick email to them, and they changed it like that. And they were able to adjust the price on it a little bit by shrinking our front porch down a little bit. So they knew
Yeah,
what we
like
wanted.
6 inches, and that kind of paid off. So just be open and fully transparent with.
Yeah.
Put it all out there. Be vulnerable, I guess.
Make sure you have enough of outside space for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was our big thing, is the big porch with so we can build a kitchen and have seating space. So
But like we said, we took our time. It took us a year from the first contact to really dig through everything and make some decisions and know what was important for us. So I say on board sooner, but at the same time, I think maybe that's why we don't have any of those. This is where we felt like it was going to unravel because we kind of knew what we were getting
Yeah.
into.
yeah, for
No,
sure.
definitely be ready.
Yeah.
to get wet when you jump into
Yeah,
the pool.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
And so that's the biggest thing. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on here and just kind of sharing some experience. I know you guys are
Sure.
Raven fans. I know, like everybody in the office was talking about, how awesome you guys were to work for.
Okay.
Dan and Olivia both. And the house turned out beautiful.
Yeah.
You
We're
know,
super
I,
happy.
I
We love
never,
it.
I haven't got to meet you guys until
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
So it's always fun for me, right?
Sure.
And it's an unbiased way for me to get feedback in a public forum of what was good, what
Yeah.
was bad, what needs improvement, and I still stick by the fact that we are not for everyone.
Mhm.
But if you want to do this, our process is the best in the industry to determine either you're going to build or you're not.
Yeah.
But the process is designed so fluid to where you don't get into a commitment of something without fully knowing that
What
it's
you're getting into.
affordable and what everything is. So when you get to the end result, you guys moved into exactly what you signed a contract for.
Mhm.
Regardless of what happened between point A
between.
and point B,
Yep.
you got what you paid for, and things kind of stayed in that realm.
Mhm.
Versus trying to figure it out every step of the game.
Yeah.
That's insanity to
Yep.
me. So the onboarding process for me is it's a flip of a coin. There's a lot of people that bark about it online. They can't stand
Sure.
it, but we know ultimately we've got to determine: are you the right client? Are we the
Mhm.
right builder? Is this the most feasible option for you and your family?
Is it a fit? Yeah.
Our goal is not to build thousands and thousands just for the sake of building thousands and thousands. We literally want to be able to give people exactly what they're looking for, and when they leave, they go, "This was a great investment."